Hey, you guys, what's up? Okay, welcome back. If you are just running across my videos for the first time, I'm glad you're here. If you've been around for a minute, you watch my stuff, thank you. And in this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck, okay? Now, I did post a short the other day, put a few pictures in there, and that short, it's hard to get that information down into 60 seconds. But it was referencing one dynamic that could be going on between Benifer, I want to say Benifer, between Affleck and J.Lo. And I was referencing the alcoholism part, the alcoholic part that could be going on. Now, I probably need to say the words alleged, Ben Affleck's alleged supposed alcoholism, alleged divorce rumors. Okay, all of this is coming up right now. And we've known about, we've heard about the alleged alcoholism of Ben Affleck for a few years, ever since he was with his first wife, Jennifer Garner. And so we're going to get into this in just a moment. I did post that short the other day, and I was going to make two separate videos because off the top, discussing the alcoholic dynamic that could allegedly or possibly be going on with Jennifer and Ben regarding his alcoholism, that is what moved me the most. That was what was most important for me to discuss. It's where I have more experience from my own personal life and dynamics and people I've grown up around all my life. And I had some things to say about that, and I still do. So we're going to get a little bit into that part of it. How is alcoholism affecting Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez marriage? Okay. And some insight that I think I can offer you that, hey, it's not here to change anybody's way of thinking or convert them or say for 100% certain that this is what you need to believe or this is what is going on. I'm not here to do that. I am simply here to share. It's for educational purposes. And spread awareness, knowledge, and information, okay? Experience from a person who has been through certain things in my life. So we're going to touch on the alcoholic aspect of it. That is what my short was about, because that is something that really hits home for me, all right? And there's things that a lot of people don't know. If you have never lived with an alcoholic, just like I talk about covert narcissism, it's very similar. If you have never lived with an alcoholic behind closed doors, then you wouldn't know this stuff. And there are so many people, y'all know how I am. It just bugs me. I can't stand it. When people sit up and flap their mouths and that statement, it's one of the statements I hate most in the world. We're entitled to our opinion. We're entitled to our opinion. You hear that shit all the time, right? And a great deal of the time, it's coming from a bunch of trolls who are so far removed from the experience and the knowledge and it meaning anything to them, just sitting up flapping their mouths, wanting something to vicariously remove all of their own boredom with their own life, their own misery and emptiness, their own bad marriages or bad relationships, and not doing anything, not doing what they want to be doing, insecurities, and they'll let that spew out on other people who will do it, who are doing the things, who, and in some way that threatens them. And so we're going to get into these things, okay? Not just the alcoholic part, but that's part of it, okay? So I want to keep this video as concise as I can. I know my videos get long sometimes, and I don't like that. There are some people that like to put it on a playlist, and they like the longer videos. I don't want to let them go too long. I want to make these points for you guys and get on through this. So yes, the alcoholic part of it that could be going on behind closed doors with Ben and Jen. There's a lot I can tell you about that is very difficult that other people couldn't even imagine. If you've not lived with an alcoholic behind closed doors 24/7, then you just wouldn't know. And if you're one of these people sitting up talking smack all the time, there's so many things that an alcoholic will put you through behind closed doors that will show in your body language, how you talk to them, how you interact with them. But other people on the outside won't understand what that's really all about, where that's actually stemming from. And it's actually not coming from a place of you being a hateful, vile, narcissistic, controlling diva bitch. It is coming from a dynamic that has been set up by the alcoholic at home. And it plays out. Yes, people can see those mannerisms, that energy, that body language playing out at public events like we saw Ben and Jennifer at that award ceremony. The one where everybody was talking about the body language and Jennifer saying something to him and him composing himself. And we saw these different looks on their face. I personally looked at the energy on that situation at that event, and it looked to me like Ben Affleck was intoxicated. And now this is just what I feel off of it, okay? And I'm going to tell you something too. I am very aware of, and I keep that in full consideration, because you're not supposed to just look at the whole world and simply transfer your own relationship onto them. That would be ignorant. So if anyone comes along and accuses me of doing that, or says, hey, you can't just look at each different case and just because this happened to you, apply it to them. Duh. You don't think that I've thought of that? I mean, using critical thinking and everything, and analysis and reason. And even though I am highly spiritual and highly attuned to energy, and I read energy as well, I balance those two things carefully because I need both of those things, okay? Critical thinking, logic, reason, and I need my intuitive side, my empathic side, to gather the most well-rounded, accurate information that I can about something, all right? So that's the thing. People will come along and it's just, it is a lot. But there are certain things we can read on other people if we have been through those situations as well. Okay, that's just a thing. But if anybody wants to pop up in my comments saying, oh, you're just because that happened in your situation and that's what you saw, a lot of the things that I share with my audience and in my videos are things that not that I just saw once, or that I just had in my relationship or marriage, or it was 6 months here or a year there. These are repeated patterns that I have seen in different types of narcissists, different types of alcoholics, different types of personality disorders, different types of addictions and struggles with mental illness. Since I was a 3-year-old girl, I am going on 50. So these are observations and having to learn and grow and deal with different family members, parents, partners, friends, you name it. Plus 30 years in professional counseling and therapy with a professional guiding me and helping me work through things and learn things, and studies and research on my own. So, just saying, that would be stupid of me. But people outside of me couldn't know me like that. They can only assume. But for me as a person, I'm going to check myself on shit like that immediately. Duh, you can't have the most accurate knowledge like that. Are you sure you're not just projecting? Are you sure you're not just making it into the only thing you have in your frame of reference is what happened to you, what that particular alcoholic was like? Or are you sure you're not just putting your box around it? You have to ask yourself those things when you're analyzing any other relationship or any other situation in this world. But again, we humans, all we do have to pull from is our frame of reference. Now, some of us have a wide variety of things to reference in our past because we've been around a lot of different types of people and different types of situations, and it has given us a very vast experience, insight, and wisdom. And some of us have been around less than that. Some of us have only been around one certain type. And some people will have that tendency to apply that to everything. That's how it is right there. That's what I've seen. That's how it is. That's what I've seen. That's how it is. That's not always the case. So we always have to ask ourselves, Be aware. And I want to let the public know that I am aware of that. I don't do that. Okay. I like to examine things. I do pull from a lot of personal reference and experience and a lot of different types of personal experience. But at the same time, I have to keep that separate and know that these are different people that I am discussing. And there's a chance that it could be something totally different. But I will often speak on and read what I am feeling about them in my deepest of energy, not necessarily just what I've seen in my past or from my experience and ever just transferring that onto them, but what I can really read from their energy. Okay. And that's a whole kind of different thing. All right. Plus, it takes one to know one. If you've lived in abuse, if you've been a battered wife or battered husband, if you have lived in psychological abuse, if you have had a divorce, if you have lived with an alcoholic or an addict, you're going to know certain body language on people. You're going to be able to read certain energies on people that the rest of the crowd won't be able to read. It will go right over their head. They'll be the ones sitting in the comment section trolling, flapping their mouths, and they don't know squat. They're just assuming and bored and yada yada. Okay? That's that. Always go and listen with what you're picking up on very deeply in your intuition. You listen to that. I do. I mean, I can't tell you what to do personally. Okay? Always use good judgment and be safe about things. And consult professionals if you need to. But I always listen to that deeper intuition. It has never led me wrong. All right. So the alcoholism, we're going to get into that a little bit about Ben and Jen and what that does to a couple and the secrets of it. And it's very much like covert narcissism. All the videos I have about covert narcissism, oftentimes living with an alcoholic is very much the same thing. And we all know that when a person is a severe addict, they are automatically not high in their pathological narcissism. I always reinforce concepts. I talk about this in a lot of different videos. We all know everyone is born with narcissism. Narcissism is self-preservation. We all have some and we all need some. Okay? Now, it can start tipping the scales from healthy narcissism into pathological narcissism if we have unresolved traumas, issues, insecurities, or whatnot that we are not facing. And we create these defense mechanisms, and sometimes things can go to the pathological side of narcissism and get worse and worse. So I also want to talk about not just the alcoholic part and what is very possible. Okay? And people would just drop their jaws if they knew what it was like to live with a severe alcoholic. Now, I know some of you may come along and some of you may have had this experience in your life. And you know the heartache. You know the pain. And it's not just limited to women. I have several male friends who have loved, been in love with, been married to a female alcoholic. And it's the same as what I went through. It's the exact same thing, not gender specific. If you love someone that is alcoholic or outside of the romantic context, your brother, your sister, your mother, your father, all across the board, I've experienced them all. My father was an alcoholic. I've known it all my life since I was a little girl. It's one of the first memories I have is alcohol, the smell of alcohol and being around it, and my father. And my first husband at 17, I was married young. He was an alcoholic. I've had a host of alcoholic friends who struggled with addiction. Almost all of my siblings and I have struggled with addiction at one point in our lives or another, even though theirs was far more severe than mine. I never got addicted to alcohol. So I'm just saying I have a lot of exposure to alcoholics, okay? And yeah, you would absolutely drop your jaw if you knew, if you've ever been there, what they put you through behind closed doors. Now, I'm going to say this. There's such a thing as they call them dry drunks. There's such a thing as dry alcoholics. There's such a thing. There are many different types of alcoholics, and yours may be different. Your experience with them may be different. There are many different levels of alcoholism. Some people can drink, do substances, and go straight to work every day, and nobody ever knows. They are functioning addicts, functioning alcoholics. But I'm talking about the level of alcoholic that I've seen. My partner, who passed away last year, was such a heavy drinker. He was only 46 years old. He passed away last year from throat cancer. I lived with him for almost 7 years. And what I had to see in that time of his drinking, and there was a reason, he was already that way when he got to me. He had gone through a divorce and the sudden death of a child. It was OV for him. In his mind, it was OV. He was done for on this earth. And that was a really hard thing for me to accept. He had already nearly died 2 or 3 times from self-destructive drinking tendencies and whatnot, even in the years in his marriage before his child passed away. And so in the years we were together, I was more of a nurse, a caretaker. A lot of different dynamics went on in our relationship. And yes, at times it got abusive. At times it got out of control and devastating and hurtful and chaotic. But at times there was also great healing and great love and great connection. Okay? So, but the position they will put you in as a nurse, a nanny, an enabler, severe addicts are always looking for an enabler. Okay? And the dynamic that you get wrapped up in with them, you won't always know it's that bad at first. So, people got their say. They're always going to say that, right? Oh, we're entitled to our opinion. And I think that's just, barf. Because it just makes them sound so shitty. You're really kind of not. You're kind of really not entitled to shit. It just makes, a lot of times people are sitting up on the internet trying to scream, narcissist. She's a narcissist. He's a narcissist. This, that, and the other. And it's totally going over their head that that's what they're acting like. I'm entitled to my opinion, even if it's not well thought out, and even if I have really no, evidence of this, or, a lot of times it's they who have the issues that are just trying to project it and spew it out onto the internet like some troll to vicariously remove it from themselves so they don't have to deal with it, and drag other people down. All right, so we're going to touch on the alcoholic part of Ben Affleck and Jennifer. Also, before I conclude the video, I may do 2 parts to this. I also want to talk about the hate. I was reading a comment on a Jennifer Lopez video earlier on Facebook. What is all this sudden hate on J.Lo? I mean, what is all this sudden hate anyway? How do you people have so much time? These people that are just constantly in the comment section hating and hating and hating on her or anybody. How do y'all even have time in the day? If you're really enjoying your life, working, creating, family, doing this, doing that, living your best life, how the fuck do you have time to sit up and have so much free time to hate somebody you don't even know? From her vocals to her career to how pathetic she is to bashing her marriage. Oh, Lord. So we're going to touch on that a little bit too. Some things I want to talk about. This video on Facebook said that she is canceling her summer tour. Now, I don't know if this just got announced this week. Someone else said it was announced over a month ago and it's old news. I don't know, okay? I'm just kind of catching on to this bandwagon. I wasn't really aware of her summer tour. I started paying attention to Jan and Ben again when they got remarried. When I heard they got back together, and then they got when they got married, actually, for the first time. Because I knew their history. I knew that they had dated almost 20 years ago, were engaged, were going to get married, and never got to. And they busted up. Ben went and had kids with Jennifer Garner and stayed with her for many years. J.Lo went and married Mark Anthony and had 2 kids and got with, I don't know if she married a couple other dudes or just dated them, But she spiraled her thing and Ben spiraled his way. And then they come back together almost 20 years later. And you know, guys, I really was rooting for them. Okay. I think at heart, I am a hopeless romantic, even though at times in my life I've had to be pretty hard and, learn to just do me. And I've had to work through a lot of codependency issues and had a lot to work through in my life. But at heart, yes, I think I am a hopeless romantic and I root for other couples. I do believe in love, deeply believe in love. And I was rooting for them, and it reminded me a lot of my last partner. He and I were also engaged, but our time was running out. Our situation was something that, it was just one of those things. He was consumed by his alcoholism. He didn't have that many years to live when we first got together. And I really didn't know that. I wanted to believe and hope otherwise and try to help keep him as healthy as possible. But deep in my soul, I knew that it was almost like this soul contract that had to play out that way and that it was going to go down like that he wasn't going to live that many years. I loved this man dearly with all of my soul, and I still do. But in a way, it reminded me of my partnership, how he and I had run across each other in our 30s while I was raising my children, he was raising his, situation going on there, and we had somewhat of a history together. And then 8 or 10 years later, it cycles back around. We don't see each other anymore for all those years. In fact, I never really thought I would ever see him again. And there was something really special about him that I stored it inside all those years, But it's not like we were deeply in love or anything, or we dated or were a couple back then or anything like that. No. There was just something about us together. We got kind of close. And then all those years went by. And from out of nowhere, suddenly, in 2016, he's going through a divorce. His middle child passes away suddenly. He's going through a lot in his life. And we cross paths again from out of nowhere. And initially, it really just started as friends and homies because we used to make music. We used to run around the same music scene. We knew all the same people. And it was really great to catch up with him. At first, it just started out like a casual shoulder for this homie, this friend of mine, and his losses and feeling compassion and empathy for him. And it was breathtaking what happened to us, how we fell for each other. And after all those years, I just kind of knew when something like that happens, you will know. Trust that, okay? I always do. I don't care how crazy it feels or looks to other people, or I always trust this, okay? And my higher guidance. I just kind of knew when he came back like that out of nowhere, when our worlds passed again, I knew that was some preordained shit. That was some divinely guided. It was like one of those soul contract things. It was, and I believe in shit like that. I really do. And that we had work to do together. Probably wasn't going to be easy either, given our backgrounds of trauma, given our backgrounds of addiction and his current addiction at the time, given the fact that he had not gotten to have as much therapy as me on his old childhood wounds and things like that. So it is what it is. So I was rooting for Ben and Jen, y'all. Okay. She was promoting the new album. And I feel like she was just really wanting to express this profound feeling. Love is something different when you are 40 and 50 than it is when you're in your 20s. And so I've got a lot to say. And maybe it's just me. Okay. Now you will watch some of my videos where you will see me coming down on certain things. Certain people that in my energy, I feel it, or they've either been convicted, and we all know it's true, or it's just something I'm reading in my energy. You will see me come down on folks and call folks out in a heartbeat that absolutely deserve that, okay? But when it comes to shit like this, people hating on people like J.Lo, maybe it's just me, y'all. In my heart, I have this compulsion to defend the innocent, to defend people who are being innocently hated, ridiculed, judged, bashed. And I can't help myself. And I don't care, even if it is somebody like J.Lo who has millions, who this, that, and the other. It's just not the first thing that comes to my mind to want to hate on people. It's just really not. I don't care, even if she is arrogant. You know, that's something I want to get deeply into. Do I want somebody mistreating me or mistreating others or talking down? But, you know, I see this energy in the general public a lot. Well, she talks down to her and Playaz. And, well, she snaps and she isn't very friendly and she this and she that. And, well, Jennifer Garner is just so much, she's just so relatable. She's so relatable. We just love Jen Garner. Relatable is another word that I am beginning to not be able to stand. Right along with, we're entitled to our opinion. Entitled in the context of to our opinion. Entitled and relatable. 2 words I'm getting to where I can't even fucking stomach them. So relatable. Well, who the fuck wants to be who wants to be relatable anyway? You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry. Maybe it's just me. But when I see stuff like that, it makes me want to bounce the opposite direction and just be like, wait a minute. What's up with these people's perspective here? What is so insecure inside of them and so off that they have to look at every superstar, especially the females, y'all. Seriously. The females get it way more than the males. A bunch of these, and it's from other women. It's from other jealous, hateful, empty, bored, insecure ass, hateful women. Just sitting up doing this spreading this hatred, this dragging down of other beautiful, amazing, successful, creative, high-powered, loving women who I personally don't feel like deserve it. Now, might be wrong. I might, if I were to follow J.Lo around 24/7, I might see her scratching her booty and picking her boo-boos and doing stupid shit. Might see her being rather abusive or unkind. I don't know that for 100% certain. But I'm just saying, the way that the general public is okay with fucking flying off the handle onto somebody they don't even know to hate on them that badly, their every move. Okay, I'm not down with it. I can't stand it. I think it's pathetic. And I personally think it's coming from, again, it makes you look really insecure. It makes you look empty, bored, afraid, miserable, and on and on and on. So we're going to get into that in a little bit too, okay? And the video's already at 30 minutes. So those 2 things. We're about to talk a little bit about Ben Affleck's alcoholism and how that could be affecting J.Lo and how it could affect the marriage and how it could show up in her body language and her actions towards him. This kind of stuff happens. And oftentimes the public misreads it. Because I've lived that life. I've walked through that shit. And been accused of being a certain energy that I wasn't. I was just fucking frustrated because I was dealing with a severe alcoholic, honey. And when I say severe, I don't think you can even bring yourself to imagine this level of alcoholism that I lived with 24/7. This isn't just any old drinking situation. No, this is like the movie Leaving Las Vegas, okay? This is like that on steroids. Leaving Las Vegas didn't have shit on my partner. The character in that film. This is how fucking bad it was. And if you know the dark side of alcoholism, then you know. The pissing, the vomiting, the shitting, the fucking seizures, the nearly dying without it. The first thing that they go for in the morning when they wake up and the last thing they have before bed. And everywhere you go, you have to make sure how much alcohol do they have and are they going to run out? And, everywhere you go, you got to prop them up because they might fall on you or they might have a seizure or they've gotten so drunk they've pissed themselves, didn't wake up in time, or you walked in and found them pissing in the corner or in the closet, or it only gets worse from there. Okay, I could get way more graphic, but I'll spare you. It's very dark living with a fucking alcoholic. And I think that some of these people out here think this shit is a joke. I think some of them have no clue how dark it really is, how dark it can get. Now, am I saying that Ben Affleck is to that level of alcoholism? No, I'm not. I'm not, because he has the means and the money and to go and get treatment long before it ever gets to that stage. Now, sometimes even people with means and money don't want treatment and they end up in that shape. Now, but do I think Ben Affleck could have a significant alcohol problem and it be causing problems in his marriage, and therefore it coming out in the energy that we see on J.Lo sometimes, where it looks like she is snapping at him at a public event or reprimanding him? Yes, I think that's a possibility. And I will tell you from experience what that is. It is that oftentimes an alcoholic, depending on how severe they are, even the lighter weight alcoholics, when you're dealing with an addiction like that, it affects your brain, okay? And it sort of puts you back into a childlike state. So oftentimes, women who are dealing with alcoholic men are in a lot of ways having to deal with a man in a childlike state a lot of the time when he's not sober. And if it's really severe, it'll start to affect his brain even when he's sober. But that is the dynamic they put you in. It's like you don't really have a choice unless you want to leave them. And it could be a situation where you didn't really know it was that bad at first, and slowly over time, the alcoholism progressively got worse. All kinds of things can happen. A lot of times we do that. We think it's going to get better. We think it's okay. Our love can heal it. Or if we work hard enough for the alcoholic, we can help this. We take it personal, and it's not personal, girl. It ain't about you. It wasn't about me. It's not about how good you are or how happy you can make them, because you can't. Mark that down and check it off. You cannot make an alcoholic happy, ever, or an addict. Ever. Ever. I don't care if it's made of 24 karat gold, honey. I don't care all the bases you cover: the homemaker, the lover, the friend, the perfect. I did it all. I tried to fucking hit all those bases. I turned myself inside out. It's just the way it is. And a lot of times, if you don't go along with the mommy and boy program, which is the enabler, the nurse, the nanny, the caretaker, the shepherd, all severe alcoholics need that. If you don't go along with those dynamics and you're just like, whoa, wait a minute, I didn't sign up for this. It's not healthy. I need an equal partner. Now, I do love you. I'm willing to work with you on stuff, but the role you're putting me in, it is what it is. I'm just not down for this, because it will get more toxic from there. Trust me, if you go along with this. And the minute you put your foot down and you start having certain boundaries and personal rights, and, you want to live your life in this healthy way, and you want to express and create. And I really think that J.Lo and Ben are kind of on two different energetic paths. Even though they're both actors, they are both in that creative world. Alcohol will take every beautiful thing about your soul and destroy it. I've seen it since I was a little girl, what it's done to my family members, how it has eaten through my family like some fucking curse, drugs and alcohol, and how it ravaged my partner that passed away last year. It was like demons all over him all the time. It took him from a beautiful, strong, talented man, a provider, a husband, a all these things he had going in his life, and it reduced him a lot of the time to a pile of mush that I had to hold up like a crutch, that I had to get on and reprimand and tell him 50 times a night, please, I asked you not to do that. Please, I asked you not to do that. And after you have to do that 10 times in a row, you're pissed. Now you're screaming. Now you're frustrated. Now you're in the role of a parent, of a mother, of an authority figure that you didn't want to be in. But trust me, if you love them, you will stay unless you want to turn and walk away. And when you're really emotionally invested and in love, it's hard to walk away. But if you stay with that drinker, that alcoholic, the dynamics you're in for, it's like you can't win. You're going to be judged, ridiculed, villainized, scapegoated. All that's going to happen just like it does with a narcissist. Okay? It is tough stuff. It is tough stuff. And I think some of those dynamics may be going on with Jen and Ben. And people don't know. They don't know what it's like. My partner used to do it to me all the time. And I loved him. I adored him. I fucking adored him. He was my heart. But boy, I would be so fucking mad. I would be so frustrated. People would have no idea what I was going through at home. How I was having to spend my time 24 hours a day. Of course, we're not Ben and Jen. We're not millionaires. We're not actors. We're just average, everyday, fucking struggling ass poor people. You know? And I was spending my days cooking and cleaning and nursing and scrubbing and laundry and bathing this man and holding him down through seizures and carrying fucking puke buckets and cleaning up shit and holding his hands at hospitals. And no, I checked myself on all those psychological boxes. I had a lot of therapy in my life. I had an alcoholic father growing up. I knew all those dynamics, and he and I put all those dynamics on the table. We both grew up with alcoholic fathers. All of this shit I felt like was kind of divinely orchestrated for us to continue doing some healing work on our childhood issues and psychology and break patterns and cycles. And you know, but he was in the mind state of the alcoholic who kind of wanted to hold on to all those old patterns, very conditioned to those things. And of course he was going to hurt me. I know that comes with the territory if you choose to stay, you know. But no, it wasn't about me having low self-esteem. No, it wasn't about me being codependent. No, I checked all those boxes off, and I was very aware of the healthy boundaries and where those lines needed to be drawn. But it was very difficult for me to do that for a long number of years because I felt like spiritually he and I had certain work to do. And there were other things that were so good to experience and learn and grow from that, you know, every relationship is unique. You have to decide when the time is right for you. Now, there did come a time where I had to start drawing those boundary lines. And it was like ripping my own fucking heart out of my chest. It is hard, okay? So I just want people to know that. There are a lot of people out there that struggle with addiction, and there are a lot of people out there that are family of people that struggle with addiction, or you're married to a person that struggles with addiction, and you have it just as fucking hard. There is no easy way out, and people will judge you. They will villainize you, scapegoat you. Why didn't you do it this way? And if you had cared more, or if you'd put your foot down more, hey, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about till they have to deal with that alcoholic 24/7 behind closed doors. Tell them, come on over. Walk in my shoes if you think you can, biggin. You know what I'm saying? Walk in my shoes if you think you can. Come on over here and try it out. Tell them, you go pick them up. You go pick them up and you take care of them for a few weeks. You deal with this for a few weeks and you see how you come out. See how you handle it, okay? All those friends and family and the public sitting out on the sidelines, not knowing one damn thing about what you go through with them at home. Sure, they can sit up and judge. They're all relaxed and they're not running their ass off for that alcoholic. They're not dealing with this obnoxious, wobbling, whatever level your alcoholic's on. They're not dealing with that shit at home. the way they get all out of their brain, and some of them get real goofy and they talk incessantly to the point where you think you're going to lose your mind. You can't get a moment's peace or an hour's sleep or a shower, or they might follow you all over the house all day and night drinking. And some of them get really irate, obnoxious. They want to get really sadistic and start picking fights with you every time they drink. And it's really scary. It can take love and just a person that you love with all your heart. And when they're sober, it might be the best energy. The sober them, this beautiful, loving, cool energy. But it is scary. And it can feel very alone living with an alcoholic. You can feel like the loneliest human on earth because you're always with that. You're always having to watch out for that. You're always on edge. It's like you're having to be a parent all over again. Like if your kids are grown, or it's an extra child if you have kids. You're always having to have eyes in the back of your head and keep them out of danger, and just depending on how bad they are. And it gives you a great amount of stress and anxiety. And yes, that will come out in your body language. And no, it doesn't make you a diva, a bitch, a selfish, narcissistic, controlling, yada, yada, yada. I saw one commenter say, does Jennifer want to be his wife or his mother? And I'm just thinking, they don't know. They don't know the fucking pain and heartache that you go through being put in a position like that. She wants to be his fucking wife. But 9 times out of 10, if his alcoholism is allegedly, his alleged alcoholism is as progressed, if it's to a certain level, he's putting her in the position to be his fucking mother by him not being emotionally mature enough and drinking too much. And what that does, how it literally retards the brain cells, the reasoning, it destroys everything. Okay? And so that's one of the things, guys. And I will do a follow-up video to this and get more into talking about alcohol abuse and alcohol addiction and what it's like to live with them, and my own addiction. And, I never was addicted to alcohol, but, just so we can get into it more, because I've been through a lot with this. And so that's one thing I really wanted to point out. With all these people sitting up pointing the finger at J.Lo and so much hate directed at her, you don't see people hating on Ben Affleck. Dudes don't do this as much. What is it with these women that want to hate on other women so badly? What is it with y'all? What happened in your childhood? Or can you not get therapy for that? Or do you not feel good enough about yourself? I mean, geez, if anybody could feel bad about themselves, the shit I've been through in my life, my fucked up teeth, losing everything in the last couple of years, my partner passed away, I lost my home, my car, I'm aging. I mean, if anybody could feel insecure and bad about themselves, but I don't get down like that. I take the adversities in my life and the fucking negatives in my life I've had to since I was a kid, growing up in childhood abuse and trauma with a father who drank and was violent, abusive, manipulative, violated boundaries that he never should have, kept us on almost in terror all the time. But he also had a loving side, a playful side. It's all we knew. I've had to take that kind of energy and transmute it. I had to learn to survive that kind of shit and take that energy and alchemize it into something, into a better energetic output. Now, granted, I had good teachers. I had good intervention and good therapy. But yeah, I don't have time. I really don't. I don't have time it just doesn't interest me to sit up on the internet or anywhere really. And the first thought that's going to come to me is, oh, look at her. Her voice sucks. Her music sucks. Everything she tries to do sucks. She's just a bitch. Oh, she's probably just a narcissist. Oh, she this and she that. She's not good enough and she's not relatable. She's just not relatable. Okay. Come on. It's like, besides the alcoholic issues, that could be going on with Ben and Jennifer, and him putting her in certain positions all the time. Now, it may not be to the extreme level that I've gone through or that I described, but an alcoholic will put you in some bad situations. And your nerves will be shot. And you will be living in a nightmare in your head and your heart, knowing that if this doesn't change and it doesn't get better, that eventually you're going to lose them, that you're going to be forced to make some decisions you don't want to make. And that makes you even angrier. It's all coming from a place of pain and heartache, that anger that you might see on someone who is dating or married to or close to an alcoholic. It's not what a lot of you think. It's not what a lot of you assume. And I'm just so sick of it in the world. I'm so sick of the hateful assumptions and how people even had time for that shit. Because you know what? To me, the most hardcore motherfuckers in the world with all the strength are also the softest. They're also the ones with the biggest hearts and the most empathy and compassion for others. And they can be gentle. And they can look at another human and not necessarily right off the top have this petty, awful. They can look at another human and go, you know what? No matter what this outer shell looks like on this person, no matter if I like their catty attitude or not, that's a human. And I bet her heart's broken. I bet she's really fucking struggling right now. You know, even these celebrities, they're human beings like we are. I don't give a fuck how many movies they made. I don't give a shit how many millions they have in the bank. I see it written all over Jennifer Lopez. You know, and I'm not particularly just obsessed with either one of them. I've never been a super fan of either one of them. I've never disliked either one of them either. I've always moderately liked Jennifer Lopez. I've always liked her movies, especially when she did Selena. That's when she really got on my radar. The Money Train. I always thought J.Lo was the bomb. She's a fantastic dancer. Top of just amazing. Blow you away. Beautiful body, fantastic dancer, beautiful woman, ethnic. I could just name so many things. I think she's creative. I love that she loves love. And I think she just really wants to celebrate that. She's 54 years old. We think and feel differently at that age. We don't give a fuck about the embarrassment and the bullshit that these young 20-somethings are trying to put out on TikTok or TikTok or whatever, TikTok, and cancel her. And I heard that, she got so much hate on TikTok that she decided to cancel her tour. And that's some bullshit. We grown-ass women have already been there and done it. We can feel whatever the fuck we want to feel, and we don't have to worry about being self-conscious, or we're not relatable enough, or we might get canceled, or that's embarrassing. That's too cheesy. We shouldn't share this profound and live in that moment. We shouldn't create the things we want to create. All that old bullshit that these young chicks have to go through. And they'll try to take that from you as well. And so I kind of think some of that's happening to J.Lo. I think she's at a very profound place in her life. And we do that as we get older. We go through massive psychological and spiritual and emotional growth spurts and changes and epiphanies and realizations. And we want to feel that shit in the moment. And it can be so profound that we want to share it outward as well. I think that's a lot of what was going on with her wanting to make that documentary about her love story with Ben and how profound that was to her. For God to bring that back to her after 20 years, I too believe it was divinely orchestrated. When I pick up on some energy like that, I see that shit. I just do. I think there is something karmic about Jennifer and Ben, and I don't necessarily mean that like karmic in a bad way, like karmic debt, or, you know, how in the whole spiritual twin flame theory thing, they have the karmic. That's usually the person you have to learn a bunch of shitty lessons with and then whatever. I do think there is something soul contracted about Jennifer and Ben. And I do think there is a deep, deep love there between those two human beings and a deep chemistry. It is in love and it is deeper love. It is all of that at once. Now, there are other influences, entities, and energies surrounding that relationship. Yes. Just like what the hell was happening to my relationship. Absolutely. And let me tell you something. Where alcohol is involved, it is an open portal. Okay? Oh God, you don't stand a chance. That's what I'm saying. And the public won't understand that. That eventually she may have to bow out. Because the more you drink, extreme and abusive use of substances and alcohol literally leaves you a wide open portal for dark entity attachments, darker energies, darker thought forms. It just builds and builds in your head. It lowers your reasoning, lowers your inhibitions. Where you used to would care, your empathy, your compassion. Certain drugs I know methamphetamine for one, I've seen it on people, makes them like a fucking cyborg. It's horrifying to just have to take a step back and watch your loved one be taken by that shit. Because I have always felt like energetically, it's not all the way them. It's not. Do I hold them accountable for their actions? Yes. Am I going to sit here and spiritually bypass everything and, make excuses? No, I'm not. They are responsible for opening that fucking portal. They're responsible for how they cope with their sadness, their anger, and their life problems. They are responsible for their substance abuse. They're responsible for whatever they allow themselves to think and feel and grow into, and how that impacts you and their family and their kids. Yes, they are responsible. But I'm just saying, what I pick up on energetically is it's not always them. When a person is severely addicted and overusing any substance that leaves them in and out of their body all the time, loosely tied to their physical, out of it a lot, even depression, certain mental disorders that we may struggle with. Like when I have PMDD every month, honey, it is an extra terrifying battle on me at that time because I am more open and susceptible. I feel way more vulnerable to darker energies at that time. Anything that keeps us down in lower vibrational frequency and feeling and in a certain state, whether it's substances, whether it's dark toxic thoughts that come across us, whether it's mental disorders that keeps us down, that can make us more vulnerable to darker entities and energies, entity attachments and energies and thought forms and shit like that. Yes. Okay. And check out Sloan Bella. I know that some of my viewers actually love her too. And she discusses things like this a lot too. I have felt these things in my life. I understand that kind of thing very well. And if you're interested in that type of energetic conversation and learning about that kind of stuff, Sloan Bella on YouTube, she discusses this in full depth. Okay. I find it very interesting, but it's the truth. It's what I've witnessed and experienced. Okay. Now, it may not be the truth for everyone. It may not be what you can pick up on. It may not be what you perceive. And it may even not be something that you want to even allow yourself to believe or perceive. And that's okay. That is okay. But for me, it's the real deal and it's what I'm into. All right. Now, back to Jennifer and Ben. Oh, this is getting deep for me. Okay. I have quite a bit more I want to get into about them, but I'm kind of feeling like I'm going to need to do a part 2 because I really don't want this to go more than an hour. It's hard for me to edit it. It's going to be hard now. It's a lot of work and I want to get it on, post it up for you guys. So here's what I'm going to do. I think I've touched on, giving you a little taste of what I really want to get deeper into. The alcoholism, alleged alcoholism with Ben Affleck, and if it's really going on, how severe it is, and how it could be affecting his relationship with Jennifer Lopez, their marriage, and, all that shit, okay? We're going to get more into that and what position they put you in. and why your body language always looks annoyed when you're with them. Because they act like children. That's a horrible thing. And it's not something you enjoy. It's not something you sit there laughing or scoffing at them or feeling superior to them. It's none of that. That's that bullshit that outsiders who don't know squat will assume. It's nothing like that. Okay? It is your heart breaking. It is you wanting to assist them in any way that you really can, but not knowing how or what to do. Alcohol is, what do they say? Cunning, baffling, powerful. It's fucking insane. The grip that alcohol can have over some people's lives. I can't even put words to it, but I will. I will come back in a part 2 and we're going to get a lot deeper into it, okay? So that, and the alcohol dynamic with J.Lo and Ben and what might be going on there. And if he is drinking, you know, what is going on with Ben? Why is he so unhappy? And people are so quick to assume it's the wife, it's the partner, it's this, it's that. None of that shit can be true. It's never that. When someone is severely addicted to a substance, it is always them. It has nothing to do with you. Nothing at all. It is either something that happened in their childhood or something that happened in early life or a chemical imbalance in their brain, and they're trying to self-medicate chemical imbalances like depression or things that need professional treatment and medications. They're self-medicating it. It is something like that. It is never your fault. Now, there are people that drink circumstantially. Oh, my wife bitched at me today, I'm going to have a cocktail. Or, oh, my wife is a drag. You know, yes, people do drink when they're having relationship problems, but it is never the responsibility of your partner to make you happy and keep you from self-destructing. They can't fill that role. And a lot of us have turned ourselves inside out trying to do that for an addict, and it doesn't work. It is something within them. So we're going to get more off into the dynamics of that in regards to their situation, what could possibly be going on, what I've seen in life. And I really just kind of want to know, I'm kind of curious, what's wrong with Ben? You know, what's happening there? I haven't never heard of a childhood trauma in his life. Did something happen in his early life? Is he clinical depression? Like, why is Ben drinking? Why is he self-medicating? Why does he seem to have such a heavy, angry, sullen, and hey, I'm not making fun of it. I know it very well because I've had the damn exact same energy before. Okay? I know. Shit is tough. And then we're going to talk about some of that in part 2, some more. And we're also going to talk about all this hate on J.Lo. Why? And the word relatable. And how everybody lifts Jennifer Garner up because she's so relatable. And, you know, her kitties and her mommy energy and her PTA minivan. And she's so relatable. And yet here's J.Lo over here. And everybody is slamming her, hating her voice, hating her documentary, hating her love, hating her. And trying to justify themselves by saying, well, she's mean to waiters. She's mean to staff. She's mean. She's arrogant. She's so full of herself. They're calling her documentary creative narcissism and all these things. And I'm just thinking, you know what? I don't think so. And to me, even a little bit of arrogance on a motherfucker is still, it just doesn't make me want to hate them. So what? I can be fucking arrogant too sometimes if I want to be. It's not my go-to, but, and I'm going to say this, y'all, a lot of that hate, most of the time, if someone else's arrogance bothers you, now, unless you're defending the innocent, unless it is a situation where that person is abusing the innocent. They are stomping on, twisting, down talking, hurting children, hurting innocent people. That's one thing. But if someone else's healthy narcissism, healthy ego, healthy motivation, healthy creativity Some people are just above and beyond in that energy. And actually, I see most of it as healthy. You just about have to have a lot of narcissism to make it in Hollywood, number one. You know? And a lot of people like Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I could name 1,000, have actually taken childhood traumas like beatings, violence. They've taken dark childhood trauma and they have alchemized it into this ego of, I will be the best. I will own the world. That was self-preservation narcissism. But nobody really beats those guys down. Well, who do they think they are? They are so full of themselves with their big muscles and their big Hummers, and they think they can just be the governor if they want, or they can act in films, and they're just so selfish and narcissistic, and they're just, look at their hair, and oh my God, their voice. It's chicks, man. Get a life. That's what I say. I say when you chicks do shit like that, really what it shows is how insecure, empty, miserable, afraid you are. Because J.Lo isn't relatable. What that's really saying is any woman who isn't wearing sweatpants, here's what I'm kind of vibing and hearing, is that if you can't lower a woman down and make her a little bit more average like your everyday life, if she's phenomenal and glowing and superstar, successful, killer body and killer fantastic dancer, performer, and she's got money and, just thriving in her love life and really just kind of feeling herself, and you can't bring her down to sweatpants and an old dirty t-shirt with some mustard stains on it, driving a minivan, and, if you can't make her more relatable, I get it. That feels like a threat to you. Okay? We are all ingrained with self-preservation, to scan for threats. It's in our DNA. To survive, right? To scan for threats around us all the time, which we don't need to do it now as much as we used to. Our ancestors did, but a lot of that shit is still deeply ingrained in us. It's just that human DNA shit kicking off. Oh, is this bitch a threat? Is this bitch a threat to my man? Well, is she going to take my provider? And that's that old wiring shit. A lot of us are just going on that. It's not that we're really bad people. It's not, some of us don't even have issues. Some people don't even have childhood trauma issues and what not. It's just they're going on that old wiring that's human instinct, and they need to become more aware of it. They need to evolve a little bit more emotionally and spiritually. What? But, that's human. We're going to scan. We're going to be like, oh, okay, well, who is this and what's up? I'm protective of my shit. When my partner was alive, honey, protective wasn't the word. Okay? But I don't care how many times I've been abused, battered, put through hell, lied to, betrayed, the shit I have been through in my life. I still just don't have the desire. I just don't. Maybe when I was 15, I got in on that kind of shit. Well, it's a bitch this and that old bitch that and her hair and she just can't. It made me feel better somewhere inside to put that other person down. Now, if I do it in my life today, if you hear me talk shit about someone in this day and age, then you better know I got a problem with that human being. And there is something about their energy that is fucked up. If you hear me talking shit about people in this day and age, at this age, and in my life now, trust, there is a serious issue there. There is something really fucked up about their energy, and I have a really serious problem with that human being and something they have done or what I am reading in their energy that is not good, not safe, whatever the case. Because typically it's just not something I do. It's not something I'm interested in. It doesn't make me feel better to bring other people down lower. I want to look up at them because I want to get up there with them some more. You see what I'm saying? I just marvel at people like, damn, that's fucking beautiful. Oh, shit, that is fantastic. And it gives me inspiration and hope and motivation. And I root for people. Now, have I always been like that? No. Back in my 20s, growing up in trauma, growing up with bad patterns and my own issues and insecurities to work through, took me years to get to that particular level. And still today, if certain pain, certain trauma, certain memories and betrayals and triggers come up, I can go right back to that for a second. Feeling threatened, feeling dependent on what's happening to me, how I'm being treated by somebody. Okay? But all in all, the hate, man, on J.Lo. Now, did I kind of find it funny the way Mariah Carey is always like, I don't know her. I don't know her. Okay, yes, I'm a huge Mariah Carey fan. Love, love, love Mariah Carey. And I did kind of find that funny to a degree. So what? Okay, cool. If anybody acts like a diva and acts arrogant, it's Mariah Carey. Between her and J.Lo, I mean, I don't know. But here's what I'm going to leave this with, and then I got to clip this video. I've just seen so much darkness and predator behavior in my life. I've seen the real narcissists. I've seen basically the fucking close to the boogeyman. I've seen these nightmares of addictions and mental illnesses and abuses and people struggling with this shit. And it's like, a lot of these folks out here that people hate on, like Shanann Watts, they just keep coming for her. And a lot of these people, I just don't feel like they deserve it. I just do not feel like they deserve anywhere near that kind of hatred. And Booker, I just don't get it. I don't get it. It really says something about the people that are dishing it out. That's what you want to look at. Less focus on what they're hating on and more focus on, damn. And there's a difference between having a hater energy and you are genuinely hurt and you are genuinely a victim of something and you are expressing that pain and how they violated you and you are standing up for yourself about that shit, or you are defending the innocent, you are speaking truth and justice on a predator or a person who has crossed those lines or who has, that's different. Okay? I believe in validating things like that, not scoffing and invalidating and victim bashing. That shit gets on my last nerve. Grow up, you weenies. I can't stand that shit. Because to me, it's more cowardly. It's like there's certain parts of the masses are just so cowardly to me. It is far more cowardly to sit up and hate and pick and poke and scoff and ridicule. It makes you sound like a little preschooler. That's really just what it kind of just shows me. All of their insecurities, like all those internet trolls, all those people that sit up and bash and bash and bash, and all they ever have to say about any beautiful celebrity woman or any is something negative about her clothes, her hair, her voice, her choices, her I just right then and there, I'm just like, oh my God. Super insecure, must be very bored, miserable, and that whole self-preservation thing feels uncomfortable. Maybe they wanted to be a singer and didn't. I love to sing, but I don't hate other people who are doing it just because I haven't done anything with mine in years. Or maybe, trolls troll for a lot of different reasons, but it's generally something inside of them. Maybe they want to be doing what that person's doing, but they're too shy. And emotionally immature people will always act things out in an inappropriate way that need to be resolved instead of facing it head on in a mature way and communicating it. I'm hurting. I wanted to be what this person is doing. And it hurts me that I didn't get to do that. And I'm too shy to do it. I don't know how to go about doing it. So I just fucking hate them. They're going to act it out like a child. It's going to be this misdirected pain and anger and all that, and an assault and attacks on other people. That's very childlike behavior, and that is what they do. And so we need to be aware of those kinds of behaviors. And maybe if we're more aware and more knowledgeable and more understanding, maybe, who knows, maybe within partnerships and relationships and family units and structures, children and talking with our children, which mine are grown, but I do a lot of talking with them. Maybe we can catch on to some of these things and prevent some of this stuff. Open the perspective, help our consciousness to expand and understand one another a little bit more, right? Okay. And so it is what it is. I mean, I get it. I have that energy sometimes. I'm very intuitive. If I walk up on you or you walk up on me and I don't like you, if I sense some shit in my energy, I don't give a shit. I don't care. I don't care about hurt feelings. I don't care about, There will be times where we just don't like somebody and we can't explain why. It's an energy we're reading and we're going to get the fuck away from them. Get the fuck to safety, whatever. Okay. There are times and occasions where we need to be ugly. We need to be fucking fierce. Cool. But people just sitting up for the fuck's sake of being petty, nasty, arrogant, trolling, hateful all the time. It's so boring and so old. All they do is hate on people. And there's this one girl who has a channel on YouTube. I forget her name. It might be Jamie. It's something. I can't remember her name. She has made a video about Ben and Jen as well. And the way she just sits up and makes fun of Jennifer Lopez and and just picks out all these little things about Jennifer and her documentary and her voice, and she's real full of herself, huh? It's kind of gross to me. And it makes me think, wow. People are making money on this now. And a lot of people call it satire. Okay? And a lot of people are afraid, well, they might tell me I don't have a sense of humor. Well, you think I'm going to piss my pants if you say to me, well, you just don't have a sense of humor? Those are old grade school tactics. Those are tactics that really pathologically narcissistic people use. Grade school shit. It's just emotional immaturity is really what that is. I mean, it's not like, but no, I really kind of don't when it comes to certain things. I had to grow up kind of rough. I had things put on me as a child that no child should ever have put on them. And yeah, it kind of made me grow up early. I've always had a very serious edge to my nature. Is what it is. Now, when I get really fucking comfortable, when you hear me laugh, you'll know it's real. I have a big old gut-busting ass laugh, but it's authentic. Do I laugh all the time? No. You just won't hear me doing that. Because shit ain't funny. And I'm not going to fucking pretend it's funny. I can be polite. I can enjoy myself. And I can make other people feel comfortable. But I'm not going to go out of my way to pretend. Okay? So no, maybe I just don't have a sense of humor when it comes to invalidating other people. and scoffing and picking and mocking and making a fucking career of it and making money. And y'all follow along now. If you like this content, if you like it and you want to hate on J.Lo some more, or you want to pick out all the faults in this woman and her, make fun of her life falling apart, be sure to subscribe now. Sorry, I just think it's gross. That's just me. And I probably won't have all the followers they have. Nope. Yeah, my personality is kind of serious like that. Do I have a sense of humor? Fuck yeah, I do. It can be quite twisted sometimes too. Oh yes. I like to laugh, but it's going to be when something is real and it's authentically funny to me. And again, the shit I've seen in my life and the hell I've had to go through and be drugged through, just picking on people for the fuck's sake of making fun of them and putting that energy on them, even letting that type of energy come from me, scoffing and ridiculing and invalidating after I've seen it happen to so many of my beloved friends and family members and myself, and the fucking struggles they've all had since childhood, how much pain that they've had trying to overcome things like that kind of abuse, psychological and emotional and mental torment from their parents and family members growing up, and different types of abuses, and going through that type of thing on a romantic level in relationships, being betrayed and having my name smeared, and just seeing so many things happen to people in my life. Do I think that kind of shit is funny? No, I don't. And I look at girls like her, this particular chick that has this channel, talking about J.Lo's new documentary and just making fun of her on every level she can. And I think to myself, you really just never know, though. But typically, if a person has seen a lot of darkness and trauma and brutality and abuse, it humbles them in a certain way that they have a different type of appreciation for. It's hard to explain. It's almost like I can just tell people who haven't been through shit, and that's okay. I'm happy for them. I wouldn't wish that on anybody, to have suffered in their childhood or have had a hard road coming up in their life. But there are some people in this world, to me, that are just so clueless and so naive and so ignorant. And it's okay. We're all here to learn and grow, okay? Even me. Even I can be clueless and ignorant sometimes. I can admit that, though. As long as I can admit that, then I'm open to grow. I'm open to learn. I'm looking for the knowledge. I'm ever evolving. But yeah, it gets on my nerves. But even people like that, I got to stay in my lane. There's not anything I can do about it. I can share it, spread awareness, talk about it, vent about it. But yeah, it just turns me off the same way that when I see people bashing Shanann Watts. Same thing. This video has already gotten to 1 hour and 18 minutes, and I didn't want to. I'll come back in a part 2, okay? When my mind is a bit more refreshed. My mind's getting tired. I had a long day at work. But we're going to get back into this, okay? All right? Because these issues mean something to me. The alcoholism and the things people struggle with. And it's not always what it seems like. It's not always what people assume. And then we're also going to get back into why all the extreme ridicule and hatred of Jennifer Lopez. What the hell? And talk more about that whole, she's so relatable when it comes to Jennifer Garner lifting her up, but J.Lo throwing nothing but hatred her way because she's not relatable enough, and she's da-da-da-da-da-da. And I want to discuss and examine those dynamics in women. She's a threat. And underneath all of that, it's really sending the message that all women need to be down here, not up here feeling themselves and enjoying themselves and doing this and this, so that you don't feel threatened or uncomfortable. Or you're going to you're going to hide your own little insecurities, and you're going to justify hating them by trying to scapegoat them and make them look like an evil, narcissistic, selfish bitch who's no good. So you're justified. You don't have any issues. Right. Okay. Yeah, no. Been around way too many people like that. Been through it way too many times. Don't get me wrong. Jennifer Garner's cool. She's beautiful. I love both of their energies. I'm a mother of 2 grown sons. I love children. I loved being a mother to my sons. I loved being a partner to my fiance. I love cooking, cleaning. I love traditional values a lot of the time. I am into so many things. My personality is so multidimensional and mixed. But at the same time, I admire people like J.Lo. I love her spicy, creative, sensual, sexual, outspoken, that motherfucking cocky Leo energy, baby. Yes, I'm not a Leo. I'm a Virgo right outside of Leo, but I'm also dragon in the Eastern zodiac. Whoop, whoop. And dragon nails my personality because I have that same shit sometimes. And it's something that comes from in here. It's something I've had to earn. I've had to work through a lot of horrible things to get it. It's not coming from a place of I have a superstar status and looks like Jennifer Lopez or that kind of deal. But it's something that comes from in here, that I can be confident and I can be at one with what I'm doing and feel myself and express the profound feelings in my life and be at one with that. These people talking about her $30 million mistake. That was the video. One of the videos talking shit about her. But people in comment sections talking about, why does she need to invest that much in herself? Why does anybody care? And she's such a cocky narcissist for doing this project. And I'm just thinking, why not? I can't wait to see it. From what little clips I saw of the documentary about her love with Ben, I can't wait to see this. The dancing, the music, the visuals, the image. I cannot wait, but I'm a creative personality. Abstract and, just that kind of expression, man. It just really does it for me. And I'm thinking creative personalities are a form all on their own. You will never understand creative personalities, okay? They're in a box all to themselves. It can be very abstract and and so what? So what if people want to sum it up as narcissistic? People are taking that word and they are overblowing it on the least little bullshit these days, and the real predators are getting away with shit. It's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. And half of these people blowing that word out of their mouth don't even know what it is. And half of them haven't even experienced real narcissistic abuse. And I think it's ridiculous, and it's a fucking offensive to those who have been brutally put up under narcissistic abuse and the dark twistedness that can bring into their lives. I think that's bullshit. Spewing that word at every woman you don't like, or every woman who you feel is a little pretty or a little a good dancer or sexier than you, because you're afraid your little boyfriend or your little man is going to be looking at her, or whatever the fucking case is. That is not an acceptable excuse to hate someone. That is not an acceptable excuse to smear their name, their character. All this is going on, y'all. And I know. I always feel compelled to stick up for people. People that I don't really feel are doing anything that bad. People that, I really don't feel it within my energy that they're really doing anything to deserve the level of hatred that they're receiving. Now, don't get me wrong. Now, if it was some fucked up shit, I'm going to stand up for it. I'm going to call it out. I'm not gonna stand up for everybody. Some people don't deserve to be stood up for. Depends on what the fuck they're doing. But, I don't know. I don't think she deserves all that. And I often think creative people are misunderstood too. I do. I think she's creative. She's a Leo. She's confident. Does she have some flaws like every other human woman? Yep. Is she probably somewhat arrogant at times? Probably, yeah. I can do all of those things on any given day. Put me in a certain situation. But see, I'm not intimidated by a little arrogance. There's just certain things that don't bother me. And see, that's what I'm saying. The more healed you are, the more confident you are, the more you're working on your dreams, your goals, your family, your shit, making the best of what you got, the less triggered you are by anybody else's arrogance. You don't even see it as arrogance. It just, hey, what's up? It just rolls off your back. The more confident you are within yourself, the more you work on your energy, the more you heal things from your past, the more you get out of your own insecurities and fears, the less threatened you're going to feel by other women, other men, other people, their success, their beauty, their talent. It will not trigger you as badly. You got to heal those core wounds. Until you do, you're going to be constantly triggered, constantly threatened, constantly scapegoating and projecting things onto people that really belong to you. All right, guys, I will see you in part 2, and we will talk more about Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez and some other stuff. Thank you for watching, okay?